Hi everyone. I want to go over assignment 2 with you. It's a really cool assignment with two parts. The first part is for 7 days, you're actually going to be recording your consumption on one of the following, right? So fuel, energy, water, or garbage. Note the start date on the course calendar and get started on that day recording your consumption. You're going to be writing about it later based on what you recorded. And so you're going to keep a log each and every day on one of these topics. Don't do all of them. That's a lot of work. But just one that you're curious about. How much water are you using every day? We're sort of mindlessly turning on and off things all day long or driving wherever we want. And, just kind of throwing stuff away, even things we know we can recycle, but we just don't have the means. And so, I want us to be conscientious of how we're living our lifestyle. So accurate records are super important, and I want you to put sticky notes on everything to remind yourself of what you're doing and tell your family members and people you're living with that you're doing this. Try not to just remember what you used for the last several days. Try to record this every day. You might want to even use a note-taking app for your cell phone to just jot down your details as you're using things throughout the day and transfer them on the computer later. You're recording your personal use, so if you're throwing away things at work, for instance, like beer bottles because you're a bartender, that's not your personal use, so you might want to not put that on your chart, right? But there's a lot of gray areas. Like parents have asked me, well, I'm giving my kid a bath. Am I using the water or is it my kid using the water? In those kind of circumstances, use your own discretion. We're just trying to get an accurate approximation thereabouts of how much you're using. And there's no real right or wrong here. Just as much as you can put in this log, the better, right? And if you're driving with two vehicles, you want to log both. A truck is going to consume different from, let's say, your motorcycle, right? And eventually we're going to write about it. For gasoline, you'll eventually convert miles into gallons used. For water, we're going to convert time into gallons of water. For electricity, we're going to learn how to convert that to kilowatts using this really cool website from energy.gov. And, lots of questions I have for how you are consuming. And, if you've always been curious about how much you really are driving, right, and where all your money is going, this would be a great way to figure it out. And maybe you have some family members kind of do it with you, or a sibling or a friend, make it a game, make it fun, hold each other accountable, right? So how you make this chart, we're going to do it in Microsoft Word. I want you to learn how Microsoft Word has all kinds of interesting features. And I'm going to insert a table. I'm going to go back to my assignment 2 and copy and paste what my teacher wants me to record so it's accurate and correct. And you can make it have really cool colors if you want it to, with this little bucket guy right here, and I can just give it a different color. So I just want to also cover with you some examples on how we're going to be recording. So this is every day. You can do, each of these becomes its own day, right? So you could have a different chart for each day. Like we can pretend that this is January 2nd and this is January 1. Like all of these dates are January 1 and all of these are January 2. You could do that, or you can just keep adding to your chart, right? Every day you can keep adding. This is really important with driving a starting point and ending point, because you don't always go from point A to point B and then back home again, right? Sometimes you're doing 6 things in between finally arriving home. So the starting point and ending point is important for miles driven. And like for this trip here, the student went just to work and then to the mall. So they took 2 separate trips, 2 separate round trips. But this one, like the student started at home and went 19 different places before they wound up back at the same spot. And what the student did here was they tallied the totals, and you can use a color to kind of separate them. You can also use colors if you're making a certain frequent trip, right? Like if you're always going to work. Like these are all like places where I've noticed I've went to work, right? So these are your choices on how you want to color code the chart, but it's cool just to know how to do it. Here's another one on energy. Interesting that we often don't think about the microwave for a little bit of 30 seconds, but every second adds up, right? The dryer, the washing machine, the ceiling fan that we never turn off, right? The refrigerator that's always on, the AC that kicks on and off. An air conditioner, I would actually probably put it at a temperature, but most it's going to be in time, honestly. Even with water, we're not often thinking about when you fill up your dog's water bowl for 25 seconds or the 4 times you're flushing the toilet in a day. But all of these things matter. This student tallied up their day by putting the hour, minutes, seconds, and flushes. So that's an interesting way to record the data. For garbage, it's everything that you're possibly throwing out. And if you want, you can highlight the things you could have recycled but couldn't, right? Or the one day you finally throw out a bag of trash that you want to record. So that's really important. We're trying to get a sense of how often you throw out a bag of trash in a week. So even though it's not your personal use in this case, we're just kind of getting a sense of, well, how many bags of trash does 4 people in your household accumulate in a week? 1 bag, 2 bags? You can do a lot of calculations with just that knowledge of 1 week. Notice that, going to a fast food place, every single thing that comes with that paper bag. In fact, that student forgot the paper bag it came in. Try not to forget items, right? This is probably going to be much, much longer than my example. I guarantee it. But man, every time you throw something out, definitely take note of it. Definitely take note of it. Remember that this is really for your knowledge and to help us make assignment 2 more interesting. So remember to maybe involve your friends, have fun logging it. You're not in trouble if you consume more than someone else. This is about being genuine, being honest, and keeping it real and really learning about your own consumption. So I really appreciate you watching this video. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching.